veteran Wall Street Journal reporter Valerie Bauerlein, who was in court every day of the lengthy trial last summer. She then spoke to hundreds of people and scoured thousands of documents for her new book, The Devil at His Elbow, Alex Murdaugh and the Fall of a Southern Dynasty. I cannot wait to read this book because I read all of your reporting from the courtroom during the trial. It really captivated the world. And I think people still don't understand truly why he killed his wife and son, which he has been convicted of. Why do you think, having sat there and investigated this case as long as you have?
You know, I think that is the core question. I was in the courtroom every day, as you mentioned, and I talked to people. There are people lining up at 4 in the morning to get in, and I would ask them, why are you here? What is it? And they would say, I just don't understand how a man can kill his wife and son. But, you know, I think that what we saw and what I found in the researching this book is if you consider all the pressures that were bearing down on him on June 7th of 2021, just in a course of a few hours, he was confronted by Jeannie Seckinger, the law firm administrator, over $792,000 that was missing.
Was up.
And he knew he had stolen. And he was facing this hearing in the Mallory Beach case on June 10th, 3 days later. And he got a call that afternoon that his father, who had been ill, was finally at the end of his life. And his father had loaned him $1 million in the past. His father was his protector, who had been a prosecutor in that area for, you know, better part of 50 years.
But what did killing them achieve?
You know, the prosecutors made a really good argument, and we can talk about the Labor Day shooting too. It changed the subject. It made him, instead of a focus of suspicion, a grieving father and you know, widow.
He did it all for sympathy?
Well, you know, think about what happened in the wake of that. Ms. Seckinger dropped the inquiry about the missing money. He was able to cobble together enough money over the course of a few weeks to make the problem go away and go on about his life. And with Labor Day, it was the Labor Day shooting by the side of the road when he tried to fake his own death. He'd been confronted the day before and forced out of his law firm. So I think there's a pattern there.
You say your book contains shocking new details about the case. What did you learn?
You know, I talked to more than 200 people, and I had the privilege of talking to some people who hadn't ever given interviews before. I think the most shocking thing that I learned was that every crime he's convicted of has an echo in the past. So if he committed insurance fraud by the side of the road, you know, his family dynasty started 100 years ago with an act of insurance fraud. His great-grandfather drove his Ford onto train tracks, waved at the train, and he was dying, he was broke, and they got an insurance settlement that started the family fortune. So every crime that he committed has some echo in this powerful family's past.
So he wasn't the first in this long line.
Oh,
by a long shot.
His grandfather, old Buster Murdoch, whose portrait was the one that was taken off the back wall, old Buster was accused by federal prosecutors of taking a cash bribe in the hallway that we walked through every day to get into court.
So what do you think happens with this appeals court ruling? Or is there going to be a new trial?
You know, they're appealing on the grounds of jury tampering, and there are legitimate questions about the degree to which the clerk of court talks to the jury.
Becky Hill, she didn't like.
But you know, it's a very high bar to get a new trial, and I think the judges in South Carolina in particular give great deference to one another, and Judge Clifton Newman was very well regarded. So it's hard for me to imagine that he will, but they make a strong argument.
And even if there's a new trial, chances are that devastatingly, I mean, he did himself in with his 2 days on the stand. You say
wasn't that fascinating?
You say the prosecutor always knew he would take.
He always knew. He knew that lure of the jury and the microphone to the world. He knew that he had the world at his knees, and you even heard him say it. He said, "Everyone within the power of my voice should know I didn't do this." So he couldn't resist.
Everybody who watched him testify thought he probably did.
And yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All right, Valerie, I can't wait to read this. It's called The Devil at His Elbow, all about the Alex Murdaugh case, which still continues to make news and headlines today. I'm sure
will for a long time.
Yeah, it will for a long time. Good to see you. Thanks.
Thank you for
Congrats
having me.
on the book. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.